strings. Okay, let's see the concept of formatted strings. This is also a continuation of our talk on the strings. Now, suppose we have these two variables. We have first name and we have a last name of whatever our customer is. We have John Hussein. Now, if you want to print, you could say you want to print, let's say, your name is, we put in quotes, like your name is, right? And we want to concatenate it with first name, first underscore name, plus the second name. So we could say, and last name, right? This will give us something. Let's run it. So John Hussein. Now there's no gap here because I did not add something to, add a space like that. Well, I need to put a concatenation as well with that symbol for gap. So if you run that, your name is John Hussein. Now we have a challenge here. For example, we want something like this. We want it to be printed in this way. John, there is that bracket, Hussein, like Hussein is in bracket, like these brackets here. So what do we do with that? Or how do we do that? Or how do we deal with that? So you could write something like this, like what I've written here. We put it here. And then first name plus last name. Now, before we put last, so we have this case here where we have a name in quotes, right? You write this way, it's going to be, it's going to end up in a problem. So, well, actually the message is different. So we want John, and John is our first name. So you can say, let me delete all these things. We want John, so we need to close this first. We want John. John is our first name, so we concatenate with first name, right? And we concatenate with Hussein, right? Now Hussein is in quotes. Now we need to put opening, not quote actually, opening a bracket like that, and we concatenate it with last name, which is Hussein, name, and then we concatenate it with the closing bracket. So you can see it's a little bit complicated doing something like this, and then you could say, John Hussein. This is really confusing, and it's demanding, and you need to be very, very careful to do it. So we use the concept of formatted strings, right? Formatted strings. So we can say alternatively use formatted strings. So what is formatted strings? Now with formatted string, we just want to print. What do we print? We use the word F to imply formatted string, and then you can put your quotes. Now the message is we want, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have put in this thing in the first place. Should have just said, John Hussein is a farmer. So we don't want this. We just want that. So we need to put first name and the last name is a farmer. So with formatted string, you use F and then you put quotes, whatever, single quote or double quotes, and then you say, use these brackets, these curl brackets. You put first name, okay, right? And space last name. Last name now it's in those quotes, so you could just put them like that. And say last name. I think there was supposed to be an underscore here, and then you continue is a farmer. You see, this is much more easier to manage. If you run it, you see John Hussein is a farmer. Okay, well, I think the best way is to write it this way. John Hussein, put the brackets, and once you run it, you'll see John Hussein is a farmer. Very straight. So this is the simplest way. So you could have done the same with this case here, right? You could have done the same with, say print, supposed to write print. We use formatted string, and say your name is, instead of putting concatenation with a plus, you could simply use the curly bracket and say first name, okay, and you add the space and then you put last name. Well, this is a much more cleaner way to write the same thing. You could see we are getting the same output in a more cleaner way than this. This is a little bit messy than this, right? It's more natural than this with a lot of plus. If you just want to add a space, you need to put, another quote and stuff like that, right? So that is what we call formatted string. You can have a lot of complex, message, and you can simplify it using formatted strings. So that's it for the formatted string, and we can continue with string methods. Now, string methods, these are the ways you can work with strings, right? We saw you can work with strings by quotes and stuff like that, using formatted strings like this one. So getting some index or a particular, character or a bunch of words from a particular index to another index. Now let's go into some methods. For example, you want to get the length. Let's say you're given a patapata grocery store. You want to count, the length of that, of how many characters are there in this string. Or you want to, convert it to uppercase, or you want to convert to lowercase, or you want to get the title, you want to find something, you want to replace, and then stuff like that. So let's see if you want to calculate the number of characters. How do we do that? We use the length function, right? So if you say len, but we use the word len, right? So this is a function, or this is a method. Once you say length, and what you supply the variable. So we want to get the length of a store, right? That's it. Now, if you want to print it to the screen, you can add, print length of a store, right? If you run this, you see it has 22 characters. So you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The space is also counted as a character, so you can continue, and you'll see that that is 22, right? So a length is for the most part used to, count the number of characters someone is allowed to enter. For example, in most of the fields, you'll be told that no, you have exceeded the number of characters, or you have entered. Say the message is too short, or password is too short, and it wants to limit, like, okay, once you type in the characters, it will say, well, your password is too short. It needs to be at least, let's say, 8 characters. What does it do? It uses a function like length to calculate how many characters you've entered and display what is it. So it's a very simple and straight function or method, right? But now you can convert to upper or lowercase. So how do you do that? You just use upper. So you can see here I have written dot upper. So you have to take store dot upper, right? This one doesn't take any parameter, unlike this one. Takes store, but here you say store dot upper, it will convert to uppercase. Now to print this one, you can use, print store dot upper, and what do we get? Pata glossary store. Everything is converted to uppercase. If you want a lowercase, then you can do this. Print store dot lower. Everything is converted to lowercase. And remember, it doesn't take any parameter, so you can run that one and you can see everything. Even the P that was capital and G and S are all in lowercase, right? Okay, so that's converting, lowercase and uppercase. But again, you may also be interested in finding a certain character or a certain string. A certain word, right? Using the find keyword. What do we find? For example, you're finding a keyword or a character and you use store dot find. What do we want? Let's say you want to get if there is G, right? Oh, I want to print this one. I want to print if there is G, right? What do we get? G is at 9. So what it gives us is the position, is the index of G in our string. What if we want to get we want to search a particular word, find, let's say store. Oh, sorry, we need to put in the quotes. If we want to find a store and we print, it is saying 17. So it gives the character index at the beginning of that particular keyword you're looking for, or particular word you're looking for, or particular index you're looking for, right? So that's I think easy. And what if you want to replace a character or a sequence of characters, right? For example, we want to replace this name here, pata with something else, right? So what do? We use store dot replace. What do we replace? We replace pata with, let's say, command, right? And let's print store, right? Let's see what's happening. Let's print store. Okay, something is not right here. Let's print something like this. Not use this. Should have given it to a variable, right? Boom! It's now Kamata grocery store. So you can do a lot of stuff. You may also replace a single character. For example, if you want us to replace a single character, we go to store dot replace. Let's say grocery. G, we want to replace it with, I don't know, T. Let's see what comes out. It's now pata grocery store. It's just straight like that. And what if we want to check an existence of a character, right? So we check existence of a character using in keyword, right? And what do we do? You could say you want to check for the word glossary, or let me just put it in small letters. You want to check for glossary in store, right? Well, how do we know that? Well, we want to print this to the screen. So we want to see if glossary is in there. So we want to print whatever outcome that comes out. We want to print it to see if glossary is in our store. And I remember our store is Patapata grocery store, right? So, but if we run, it's saying false. There is no glossary. What's going on here? You see, there is glossary, but this has capital G. Now, here you will note that it is case sensitive. Once you change to lowercase, it will say no, don't find it, it's false. Turns a Boolean value. But if we change it to glossary and run it, you see saying true. But again, there's something wrong here. We replaced Patapata with Kamata, but it keeps on telling us it is, Patapata. Well, the changes you do here are not permanent. We still keep our story here. So that's it. You can play around with a lot of string methods. There's a lot of string methods. Once you Google for Python string methods, you find a lot of them. And if you were using PyCharm, once you write store dot, it will bring all the methods that are associated with string. But for Jupyter Hub or Jupyter Notebook, you won't find them. So you need to run them and make use of them. And these are used whenever you're working with a file and you want to look for something, or you want to capitalize, or you want to look for the title, you want to do whatever method you want to do with the strings. You can work with this. All right, thank you. And we can continue from that point to dealing with arithmetic operations. These ones I think are quite obvious. Let's say you want to print something like 2 plus 3 and see what's that. That's 5, right? Well, that's quite straight. Let's complicate it. And well, someone might not like that one. Someone might declare x as 2, and let's say y as 3, and print the variables x plus y. You still get the same result, right? That's 5. Okay. Now, what if we change to something like times using star or asterisk? That's 6. And what if we complicate plus x? What will be the result? You can guess. If you run, that's 8. What happens here? One is that the multiplication operation is done first. And that's why 2 times 3, that's 6, plus 2, which is x, you see it's 8. Or someone else would have done something intelligent here and say, oh, we are starting with plus, and then times. What is the result? I'm sure someone can guess what would be the result, right? It's still 8. But what happens here? If we take this plus this, that is 5 times x, which is 2, that's 10. Why are you getting 8? Oh, it is not straight like that. It doesn't operate like from the beginning, and it goes like, it follows a certain precedence. Follows a certain order. We used to call it body mass, I think, in secondary school. So that's what happens. You start with the operations that have high precedence, like the multiplication, which I've written it here. Or actually, the order starts with parentheses or the brackets. Just the same formula of body mass. You open with the you open the parentheses or the boxes, and then you go to the exponent. If there was an exponent here, for instance, if we had something like x times x, or that's exponent, that's x power x. Or let me put it this way: x times x plus 3. Or plus y. Let me use the word y and run. What's happening here? x times xx, that is exponent. So it's like x power x. X power x, that's 2 power 2, that's 4, plus y, which is 3, that's 7. So we are right. So it starts with brackets. So if there was something like this, it would have dealt first with the brackets, which it would have given us like 5. So it will be x, which is 2 power 5. 2 power 5, I think. 32, I think. Yes, perfect. 32. So it starts with the brackets. So after it has opened them, it will go to the exponent. After exponents, it will go to multiplication or division, and then addition or subtraction. So that's the list in the precedence order. So you can try this one. What will be the output? So we have y. Let me print y. We have y. So print y. What will be the result? Sorry, something is wrong here. We have y, which is 4 plus 9, which is in the bracket, times 8 minus 2. What will be the result? Someone might guess. You can pause the video and try to calculate on a paper and see what comes out. But I'm going to show you what is that. 102. And what happens here? 1 is 4 plus 9, that is 13, times 8 minus 2. You can see the result is times because it's high in the order, and minus it at the end of the order list. So that's it. Thank you so much, and see you.